Hey there, Motorheads. Today is install day on the Dana 60 front. All right, one thing I want to talk about is the spring center pins. So these short ones are the ones that came with those springs. By the way, those are Rubicon Express spring over specific springs. My front springs are pretty much junk, so we're going to be swapping to these at the same time. Anyways, these center pins are a 3/8 body with only a 1/2 inch head, and that's a 9/16 hole. They're loose. I got some new 3/8 with a 9/16 head that we'll actually be using, and they fit perfect. So I've already installed them in there. Pretty easy, just a couple C-clamps to hold the pack together, and take the old one out, put the new one in, and trim the new one up to length. Also got to stick some bushings in there, which I'll do real quick, and then we'll probably get to the disassembly, reassembly stage. Well, the old front end's out. Wasn't very difficult. Disconnect the brake calipers, the drive shaft, the shocks, and the four corners of the springs. Oh yeah, and the drag link. Did that before I dropped the springs. She comes right out. I took the springs out with it just for the simple fact that I'm putting new springs in. These are absolutely wasted. When the weight of the Jeep's on them, they're actually inverted arch. They were good springs though. These were BDS 2-inch YJ lift springs, and I used these for 20 years, and they held up well, and I don't have a bad thing to say about them. They just wore out fair and square. All right, so here's the old 44 next to the 60. Give you some comparison shots. I don't know how it's going to look on the video, but in real life, the 60 is way bigger, way beefier. The 60 came out 3 inches wider than the 44, so tires are going to be sticking out 1.5 inches wider on each side, which I don't care. It's an off-road rig. It is what it is. The old 44 was a Dodge Dana 44. As you can, if you know these things, you can tell from the pad. It's not a Chevy pad. It's got the studs in it, one of which is broke off, but it's a Chevy 44. It's a Dodge 44 with a Dodge long side shaft and a Grand Wagoneer short side shaft. And I did have to shorten the housing to use the Grand Wag shaft, but that turned out to be the perfect mix to make it 28 inches on center on the spring purchase. So it served me well for a lot of years, and it's in good shape now. The only thing that's wrong with it is that broken off stud, and it's got one worn out ox U-joint. So that's life. The springs, well, you can see a little better now on the old springs. They used to have a constant arch to them. You can see how inverted they are. These new Rubicon spring over springs look like they're actually probably going to be at about the same ride height. Probably maybe just a little higher when I get them in there. I don't know. Not too worried about it. They're going to work. So that's where I'm at. Bring you back in a little bit. All right, so my cousin Paul's here, and he helped me wrestle this thing into place, and looks pretty good. So we got a motorcycle jack and a floor jack. We slipped the springs through, and then lifted it up, got it centered. We've got the spring bolts started. I don't know, it's all going pretty good today. No complaints. All right, it's been a while since I checked in. We got the housing bolted in, and all the U-bolts and studs are tightened up. Brakes are on. Had to do a little grinding on the spindle. I should have done that before I put it on, but it worked out. Got the shocks on. I'm up to the point where I need to weld up the drag link. I've got that cut and measured already. And then while the drag link's cooling off, I'll stick the tires on there and maybe the drive shaft if it still works. We'll see. And Almost done, almost ready to be able to drive this thing. All right, here's the drag link. I know that piece of tube looks really short, but look at how long the ends are. They're pretty long. So, you know, and CJs are narrow. They have a narrow frame. I narrowed the axle. I guess it's not too surprising that I have a little stubby tube for a drag link. Going to TIG weld that up. So that's next. I'm not going to film the TIG today. I just want to get this project done, to be honest with you. I've been out here for quite a few hours, and if Cousin Paul hadn't stopped by to use the tire machine, I wouldn't even be nearly this far. So thanks, Paul. Well, today's work is done. It's in. Shackles are a little kittywampus. I'm not sure why. I know I had the width right, but who knows on this thing. I've had it for 27 years. Several front ends have been in, lots of welding. All the frame brackets have been cut off and replaced. You know, I did measure, and the width is dead on 28. So that's a little weird. But it's in. My drive shaft worked out great. It fit. The brakes worked out great. Everything worked out great. It's in. I'm happy with the width. Let me say it's in again. So I just want to say thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this series. It's not quite done yet. I'll be back with the whole hubs, drill, and tap. But we're close. It's almost done. Just some minor cleanup, and this thing's good to go. Thanks for watching.